fresh off a 4-sack performance in Tennessee. Cameron Wake joins me here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Cameron?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. It's been a while. You remember what a night that was? Halloween night, turned it around, a walk-off safety. I don't ever recall seeing something like that before.
Yeah, that was a hell of a night. A lot of fun, and I remember it was late in the evening, so it was time to get that game over with, for sure.
It certainly was for all of us, and we appreciate that. We made a flight the next morning thanks to you. So what's the difference? Simply put, Cameron, if the defense wasn't performing up to snuff, you personally had 1 tackle in the first 4 games, and then in the first half, you're a sack machine. What changes have been made to allow your performance to come out in that way, Cameron?
Well, I think, we've had a crazy past couple of weeks, a lot of things going on here, but I think, just the guys going out and playing together, playing consistently, and I think we've had issues with, playing complementary football as far as offense, defense, special teams playing together. Our offense may have a good quarter or two, and then we weren't really holding up our end of the bargain and vice versa. So you can't really come out with W's that way. And, we actually ended up playing the way we were, expected to play from the beginning. And it definitely felt good.
What scheme-wise was changed?
Honestly, not too much. Honestly, we were playing old school, line up and beat the man in front of you football. Things weren't really complicated, and I think really what we were focusing on is the way we were doing things. Not so much as trying to look across the field and find out what they're doing, but making sure we go out there and you win your one-on-one, you win your matchup, win the down and move on. It's not necessarily the call or the scheme. It's about the guys who are playing that call, and guys are playing together, having fun, running around, a lot of passion, a lot of enthusiasm, which again is what we expected to be. And it's just one of the things that it's not a fluke. It's just who we've always been, just being able to go out there and show it.
Well, I mean, all of us in the national media have been talking about how you as a defensive unit really weren't feeling the scheme under your previous defensive coordinator, who's now not there. And then this is the first game we see coming right out of it. Is it fair to connect those dots, Cameron?
I think it's a little overblown. I mean, if you really look at it, it's not like, I'm speaking about Coach Coyle, it's not like he was out there missing any sacks or missing any tackles or dropping the ball. I mean, we were the players. We were on the field. We were the ones who, have to go through and make the plays. So, he's a guy, obviously, who, I have a lot of respect for, and, obviously we had to move on and move forward. But at the end of the day, again, I think it's on the players. The coaches are in the box. They're putting us in a position. But, at the end of the day, we got to put the ball on the ground.
Cameron Wake in his 7th NFL season joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'm sure you heard what Ken Wisenhunt said of your teammate Olivier Vernon's hit on Marcus Mariota that's left him with a sprained knee, calling it BS football. How would you respond to that, Cam?
Well, being a guy who I'd like to think I'm around quarterbacks, as often as possible. It's a very difficult situation to hit quarterbacks nowadays. I mean, you can't hit them too high, can't hit them too low, can't hit them too early, can't hit them too late. Don't hit them too hard. I mean, it's just the way the league is. But obviously, I know Olivier very well. I know the type of player he is. I know the type of person he is. There was none of that, none of dirty or intentional harm to the quarterback. Every time we play hard and try to go after it and get to the point. And as you know, it's I think something that's been overblown, honestly.
If I made you commissioner, Cameron Wake, and you could wave a wand to change a rule about sacking the quarterback, what would be your first order of business?
I need more than one wave of a wand.
So keep waving it. I've given you a wand with as many waves as you want.
It's just, again, I don't make the rules. I just try to abide by them. And obviously, a quarterback is a position that's very, very often defenseless. I'll just say that. As a defender, I feel that we aren't, not just me, but just defensive players in general. That defenseless situation doesn't apply to us. Our knees are just as important. We get cut, blocked, and all the kind of things that happen to us. Our needs are just as important as any quarterback's needs. Our families, we are supported by us and the things that we do, and we care about our well-being and our health just as much as a quarterback. And I don't feel like obviously those same same considerations are being made to defenders around the league. So I would just say if I waved the wand, it would be even for every player. Every knee is just as important as the next. Every player's health is just as important as the next. I don't care if you play quarterback, kicker, wide receiver, nose tackle. We're all in this game trying to stay healthy and play next week.
A lot of us are also wondering about Ndamukong Suh's fit in your scheme and on your team. How would you rate how things are going so far on that front?
I think it's great. I think it's really good. I mean, again, literally the day he signed down here, we actually got to spend time together and talk about things to come. And from the first day of off-season training on through the OTAs and mini camps, we've been two guys. I mean, literally our lockers are next to each other. We sit next to each other in the team meeting room, and obviously we play together on the field side by side. So, it's definitely been a great fit. I think, he's a tremendous football player and even a more better person.
What's the misconception then, do you think, the biggest one for everybody who doesn't know him, coming from a guy who's now just lockering next to him for the first time?
Again, it's hard to figure what other people think because I generally don't put my brain around other people's opinions. I figure out, a person by sitting down and talking to him and making my own, opinions about him. And, I had met him briefly before he came down here through, a lot of different channels. But I thought he was a tremendous football player. He plays hard. He plays tough. A guy who's determined and make sure he gets his job done. He has a very professional way of doing things, and anything that's contrary to that, I can obviously attest by my own personal experience that those things are probably made by people who don't know. So, and I'm sure he doesn't care. So, I would feel the same way. If you don't know me, I don't care what you think about me.
Cameron Wake joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, what was it like? Suddenly, you come back from London, you find out your head coach is out, and the tight ends coach, who I'm sure you really didn't have much of contact with, even though he is a former player, Dan Campbell's now your head coach. What in the world was that like in the locker room?
Well, that was quite a week, I'll say. I mean, you end up traveling across the Atlantic, you play a game, you didn't do so well, and you got to come back. 9-10 hour flight. We actually had to come into work the next day, so obviously you found out, and you're coming on into a bye week, so a lot of things going on. Whether you had plans, getting away. For me, I had injury I was dealing with. You had a couple other guys who were nicked up, but obviously again, Coach Phil being a guy who we've been here, he's been through a lot of battles, tremendous respect, great guy. But again, the powers that be made a move, and as a group, I feel like the guys came together. Everybody kind of banded together and said, "Hey, listen, it's not about anything that's going on outside this building. It's about what goes on in here. We determine who we're going to be, how we're going to be, what's going to happen next, and nobody else can determine that for us. And it doesn't matter what the bloggers or tweeters or none of that matters. What matters is how we're going to come together and face." The next couple of weeks and moving forward. So I think the guys have done a great job as far as kind of, putting all their minds together and putting all the energy and effort into practices so that as you came out on Sunday, everybody was in good spirits and obviously good things happen. We got to win.
Are you guys talking about this? This could be our coach and let's play and get that interim tag removed? Is that part of the philosophy here?
Well, I mean, again, that's well above my pay grade as far as those decisions are made. But, obviously from the time I've spent around him, even not just this past week, but obviously before the tight ends coach, going against a lot of his players and seeing, the way he coaches and being able to talk to him, I mean, why not? I mean, he's obviously a tremendous motivator. He has the wisdom and the perspective of being on this side. When I say this side, I mean as a player, being on this side of the fence and looking down at the head coach, and now he's on the other side looking back at us as players and being able to use that wisdom and that perspective and all the things that he does and all the decisions that he makes. And I think, that's something that a lot of guys can respect because he knows what it's like. So, again, why not?
Last question for you. What does the Scout Team Trophy look like? Is it tall? Is it small? What is it? Is there such a thing that's out there?
It's been a while since I've seen one.
Yeah.
I generally go in there every now and again and kind of cause a little havoc as far as helping out the offense. But I haven't seen one in a while. You'd have to do some research on that one for me.
Is it a participation trophy that you just get one for just being on the scout team? I'm just fascinated by this whole
I don't know
thing.
if it's a tangible. I mean, again, this might be another question you'd have to ask somebody who's more closely involved with the inner workings of the scout team. But again, I couldn't give you too many details on that.
Okay. Cameron, I appreciate your candidness and for coming on the show. I hope you come back real soon.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You bet. At KOLD91 on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.